Today, I wanted to talk about how sometimes we want to do something, or we even think that we want to do it really bad, but somehow we don't have enough drive or don't have enough motivation, and we cannot figure out exactly what it is, why it doesn't work for us. So, for example, or an example from my own life. I have been trying to start and build my own business or my own company so that I can work for myself. This is something that I've been trying to do for maybe 2.5 years now. It did, it went well to a certain degree, but it never really got to a point where it actually became a business or where it actually became some kind of company, something that at least looks like a company. And the point is, the reason why that didn't work for me is because I always had my job. So I always had my job, and besides my job in the morning hours or in the evening hours or maybe in the weekends, I was trying to do something to build up that business. But simply because of the fact that I always had that job, it never really worked out because I always had that job to always had a job in the back so that I always had some money. And that's why building my business was always optional. I didn't really had to do it. So if I didn't feel like it, I just didn't do anything because I still got my money from my job. Now, after quitting my job, or I'm about to quit my job, I only have a few weeks left, but at least for myself, I made a commitment, or I made an agreement with myself that I was going to quit my job and that I'm going to go all in building a business and working for myself. And at that moment, the moment where I made that agreement with myself, then literally everything changed. Because in the past, I always had no clue what I really needed to do or which direction I needed to go. But once you don't give yourself any other option, everything just falls into place. And all those things just come out of nowhere. I now am so much further in maybe 2-3 months than that I have been in 2.5 years. Because those 2.5 years, I didn't really had to do it, and I always had that other option. So building that business was always optional. I didn't really need to do it. But now I have to do it. I have to do it. I have to make it work. So now everything simply falls into place because I don't have any other option. I don't have a way out. And that is the point that I'm trying to make. If we want to do something, if we have a certain goal, or if there is something that we enjoy to do, but we don't really need to do it, or we don't dare to make that commitment because we are afraid, because of the fact that we just don't know what is going to happen. And because we don't make that commitment, nothing is going to happen because we don't have to do that. There's always another way out. But once you make that commitment and you don't give yourself a way out, that is the funny part about this, is that is the only reason, or that's the only way to actually make something work. You have to, you cannot give yourself another way out. You have to go all in and make that commitment and don't have any other options. Another example is from my own life, from my own experience, or from my own past, is once I started doing some more sports. At some point I made a commitment to do a marathon, and I've maybe wanted to do that marathon for a longer period of time, but I never really got to that point because I didn't really need to do it. I didn't really had to do it. So once I made a commitment and I signed up for that marathon, I had no other choice. Yes, still did had some other choices, or I had the choice to not do it, but yet what am I then? If I'm going to make that commitment, I'm going to make that commitment, and I'm going to go all in. So once I made that commitment, everything changed, and it became so much more easy than the period before I made that commitment, before I signed up for that marathon. And that is the whole point. We all have something that we want to do, but somehow it just doesn't work, and we don't feel like it, and we don't know what to do, or don't know what direction to go. And that's simply because we don't make that commitment with ourselves. We don't make that agreement with ourselves. And again, the fun part is, If you just say to yourself, I'm going to do this, there is no other way, I make some kind of agreement, or I make a decision, or I do some kind of action that puts me in a position where I cannot go back. Let's say, for example, I'm going to tell someone else what I'm going to do, and that person is going to hold me accountable. Or I make a commitment with my money. I pay an amount of money for something, and now I have to do that. And that's basically almost the only thing that you have to do. Once you have that agreement with yourself, once you've made that commitment, then everything falls into place. And the even more funny part about this is that once you show Freddy Krueger that you're not afraid of him, then there's nothing to be afraid of. That's even more funny. That's something I realized and I learned for myself. That if you face that fear of trying to build a business, go all in for yourself, or make a commitment to go and run a marathon, and you show yourself that there's nothing to be afraid about, then you won't feel afraid anymore. That's the funny part about it. And also, what's the worst thing that could happen? What is the worst thing that could happen? I'm trying to build my business, I'm going all in, it doesn't work, then what? I have to go back and get a job, or try something else. Maybe work part-time till I'm at that point where it is going to work out. Or maybe in the worst case, I have to sleep on my parents' couch. So what? On the other hand, the best thing that could happen is I hit the jackpot and I make so much money, or everything just goes the right way. Then I don't have to get a job anymore, and I can do something that I love to do on a day-to-day basis. So that's basically the point that I'm trying to make here. If there is something that you want to do, but it doesn't work, or you cannot seem to find the right drive or the right motivation for it, and you keep circling back, or you keep circling in the same vicious circle where you don't see a way out and you don't know what to do, just face that fear, make a real commitment, something that you cannot go back on. And that is really, from my perspective, from my experience, basically the only hurdle there is. And after that, everything still, of course, it is still not easy to achieve a certain goal that you have, but at least that fear and that drive and that motivation will come from its own. And that's at least how I think about it. That's my opinion and that's my experience. Let us know about yours. Share them in the comments. Send me a message. And for now, again, thank you very much for listening.